What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. In this video we are looking at the NBA slate for tonight. We have 12 games after just a one-gamer yesterday where Sadiq Bey was the latest NBA player to drop over 50. So much looking forward to tonight's slate. Hope you guys enjoyed some March Madness. My bracket's already busted, but hopefully you guys made some money betting on those or had some success with your brackets. Let's go ahead and get into it. As always, if you enjoy the videos, appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe. If you haven't already, you can check out the sponsor, Prize Picks. Use my code PROCESS for deposit match up to $100. I'll post some stuff later on Twitter for that. Check out the website if you want to join us, especially with MLB coming up. And let's go ahead and get into it. So starting off with the point guard picks today, we have Luka Doncic. He's $11,200. There's one team in particular that's super shorthanded, and we're going to be looking to get a lot of players from that team. But I definitely don't mind going to Luka Doncic. You have a battle of potential MVP candidates here. Luka is in the mix. Embiid is definitely in the mix. Squaring off, Luka just missed out on a triple-double and a tremendous performance against the Brooklyn Nets in his most recent game. You can save $600 and go down to DeJounte Murray, who just missed a triple-double, but as expected, dominated OKC for 65 fantasy points, had 4 steals, 12 assists. Another tremendous matchup here against the Pelicans. No problem paying up for any of those two guys. They are the best spend ups, especially with John Morant dealing with an injury. Trae Young is banged up, and SGA is also banged up a bit, and his matchup is just dreadful against Miami. So out of the top 5, you're definitely looking at Luka and DeJounte Murray to prioritize them. James Harden makes sense for a tournament play, but he just hasn't, except for like one game since he's been with the Sixers, he hasn't really gotten you there in tournaments. He had one 80-point game. Otherwise, he's just been in the 40s and a couple times in the 50s, one time below 30. But I think there's better plays today than paying almost $10K for Harden. Same thing with CJ McCollum. I like him, but his price tag has come up. You're going to need him to have a big game scoring as well as contributing with assisting and rebounding the ball a bit. I think you can save some money and go down to Darius Garland. There's a lot of questionable pieces today. So if like John Morant is out, or if De'Aaron Fox is out, if Trae Young is out, we're going to be looking at a lot of value. But I definitely don't mind going with Darius Garland. He plays monster minutes for the Cavs. They rely on him to facilitate. He has multiple games over like 13 plus assists this year, had a 19 assist game recently. And he's been struggling with the shot recently. 4 straight games shooting under 40%, but he's still been over 40 fantasy points. So that's just a great sign for his floor. One of these days he's going to have a good shooting game, and he's going to drop over 50, close to 60. So definitely like Garland, especially at home. Other options would be some value here, especially from the Utah Jazz. They are super banged up just in terms of not having a full rotation. Bogdanovic is out, and then there is no Donovan Mitchell today. So that is going to be the main team you're going to be looking at. 6K range, you can go with Kevin Porter in a great matchup against the Pacers. That game should be going way high scoring and going over the projected total. $5,800 Jordan Clarkson today looks like a great play. Even though they don't like to start him, he still plays starter level minutes, especially when they do not have Donovan Mitchell, when they don't have Bogdanovic, when they might not have Trent Forrest, when they're kind of running on empty with the bench a bit. So Clarkson should be in a good matchup, one of the better value plays today. You can also go right down to the guy that will start at point guard, and that is going to be Mike Conley at 57. He's also going to doesn't play huge minutes, but he's going to get over 30, I'd expect, 31, 32. Get you some assists, get you some points. Been shooting the ball pretty well this year, especially from 3. Matchup is fine against the Clippers. I have a lot of interest in the Utah Jazz. They are going to be one of my favorite teams to target today, which is no surprise. Small forward, Kevin Durant. A couple times I played Durant without Irving. He's been okay, but he hasn't gone off. Like 46 in his most recent game. He shot pretty poorly, 8 of 20. Did have 10 assists. But without Kyrie, he gets you more assists, gets you more rebounds, more ball handling, more usage. He's going to drop a big game like he did where he dropped over 50 real-life points a couple games ago against the Knicks here. Great matchup against Portland. Only concern he has, if it's going to be a blowout, at least Portland has done better winning some games and keeping games closer recently than they did like 2 weeks ago and last week. So I definitely like Durant as a pay-up here. You can go with some value if you wanted to, depending on the news we get from the Hawks. Bogdanovic would be a decent play if there is no Trae Young. Going further down in the 4K range, looking at 5K for Pokeveski if there's no SGA for tournaments is fine. Wiggins will get some more minutes, but I'm not looking at too many guys from OKC right now against the Heat. Tough matchup unless SGA is out. I'm trying to avoid them. I'm going to go with, you can go with some value at the bottom here. I think I forgot to mention Alexander Walker. He's probably shooting guard eligible, but he's going to get you some decent run, especially if Trent Forrest isn't able to play. He played 22 minutes after being not really in the rotation before that, but without Mitchell, without Bogdanovic, there's going to be room for Walker to get at least 20 minutes, if not a little bit more if there's no Trent Forrest. But the guy that's going to be starting is going to be Hernan Gomez, $3,200. He might be a little bit safer if Forrest is in. If Forrest is out, then you can go with Alexander Walker here. But played 23 minutes against Chicago, didn't hit a shot, 0 of 3, got you 2 free throws made, got you some rebounds. But we know, going back to his days from Denver, he's a good fantasy player when he is given minutes at times, and he can go off if he gets hot from 3. So looking at a value pick today, Hernan Gomez, $3,200, looks like a decent one. Over at center, Jokic looks good against Cleveland. Embiid is questionable, LeBron questionable. So a lot of big names on with the Q tag today. With Utah being limited, you can go with Rudy Gobert here at center, 74. They're probably going to utilize Gobert a little bit more offensively, get him some more looks at the basket potentially. He's still going to be pulling down a lot of rebounds. So, going with a lot of these guys on Utah, but I definitely like the price tag on Gobert today. 74. Love the price tags on Clarkson, and Conley looks good. Hernan Gomez as a value. And then you fill it out with Durant, get Garland. Got some more value that you can look to. Depending on Jay Crowder, we saw Craig go absolutely bonkers, didn't miss a field goal his most recent game. Rudy Gay only played like 13 minutes, so I'd rather go like Hernan Gomez or Alexander Walker, but they're fine options. And I think you had another guy like right at, it'll be Alexander Walker at 32, but we'll probably get a lot more of these value guys once we get some news. If there's no Trae Young, DeLon Wright would be a lock. Some of the other guys would be a lock if there is no, like Tyus Jones, if there's no Ja Morant. But Morant practiced on Thursday, so I'm expecting him to play. But you're definitely looking at the Utah Jazz today, looking at some Brooklyn pieces. Dragic is priced up to $5K now, so he's not a must-play. Still a decent option, but you could go Bruce Brown instead. He's been better and playing more minutes, especially if there's no Seth Curry again. But that's about it for the DraftKings side. Let's talk about FanDuel. All right, over on FanDuel, looking at the point guard picks today, once again, the position is loaded. You have Luka cheaper than Murray. Both guys look great. You can play both at shooting guard as well, so there's no real excuse if you can't fit in both, but I would prefer Luka over Murray just because he's cheaper, and he should be more expensive than Murray, even though Murray's been balling this year. And we got a bunch of questionable tags. Trae Young questionable, Ja Morant questionable, SGA, Fox. So we're going to get a lot of news. I like Darius Garland at 85. Bunch of guys out here. 7K range. You have Van Fleet is cheap at 72. 6K range. You have Conley at 64. Looks fine. A little bit better on DraftKings, but I'd rather get down to $5,000 for Jordan Clarkson. So I'm going to go ahead and put in Clarkson at the shooting guard position. Other options would be here. Let's go down the position. Definitely Murray is your best option. Harden looks good at his price. 8K, you have McCollum and Garland as the two that look appealing. Butler's also questionable as usual. He's been banged up this year. 6K range, not too much interest here. Bruce Brown is a little bit too expensive at his price. You have a couple of guys in the 5 and 4K range that look appealing, especially in the 4K range where you have, 5K would be Clarkson as your best option. 4K, you have Will Barton at 49, and you have Dillon Brooks at 48. Really good price tag on Dillon Brooks. Over at small forward, looking to get to Kevin Durant if I can at 11K. He's the best position to pay up for. He's the best option to pay up for here at this position. Harden at 95 looks fine, but he's playing with Embiid. Unless Embiid is out, which could be possible, they could decide to hold Embiid out after he still played great on his birthday, but he was questionable heading into that with the back injury. If there's no Embiid, then Harden would become the best pay up at the position. Value-wise, you're going to be looking at the guys from Utah. You have Tobias, pretty affordable, but looking below 4,000 and below 5K of Brooks, Barton as your two main pieces. 45 for Evan Fournier looks pretty solid. 3K range, you have just some of the value here with Utah, $3,500 Alexander Walker, $3,500 Hernan Gomez. Some pretty good cheap plays there. Over at power forward, don't mind getting to the pay-ups here, but you could play Durant if you wanted to. But I like Randall's price at 86. You have Porzingis going up against his former team against the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. He's probably going to have a good game. We're probably going to want to have a good game. We'll see if he can hit some shots. But I'll go ahead and put in a value pick here, and that's going to be Hernan Gomez because he's so affordable. Min price, opportunity to play 25 or so minutes depending on the news we get. Out of like Trent Forrest if he's not able to play. Just some more minutes for Hernan Gomez. Go ahead and put him in at the right position at power forward, which is what I want to use him at. And then at center, top end, you have Jokic. Once again, a good price tag, 11.2. I like Jokic more than Embiid today just because Embiid is a little bit banged up with the back, and I don't know if he'll play. I do think he will, but we'll see. 8K range, you have good price tag on Randall, Sabonis. 7K range, looking at maybe Porzingis, but Gobert is 78. But one guy that looks appealing right at in the 6K range, I mean, Jaren Jackson looks good, but Robert Williams looks appealing just because he's super cheap going up against a pretty weak Sacramento front court with Sabonis as the main guy. You can go Drummond if you wanted to, but Williams is really affordable. He can rack up blocks, get you a double-double pretty easily. You've seen him put up high 40s and 50 fantasy point games. If he has like a crazy stat line with the blocks and steals, which is definitely possible with how often Sacramento likes to turn the ball over and get into the paint. So that's about it for the video. Your first team to look at is Utah. Hopefully we get some more news, which we will because you have 10 big names questionable today. But thanks for watching. Best of luck tonight. Hit the like button before you head out, and I'll see you all next time.